Welcome to SA Wine Weekly. This afternoon, because we're not live, we are actually at Paracombe Wines, nestled in the northern part of the Adelaide Hills. Would that be the correct way to say it?
That's correct, yes.
Foothills or hills?
No, we're in the hills.
In the hills?
Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful scenery. Even though I say that every week, we are very lucky in South Australia, but this view is to die for.
Thank you.
Hopefully they've got some decent cutaways that we can show people how amazing it is. And I must introduce yourself, Kath.
That's right.
Drogamula.
Yes, you got it right. Well done.
Before we go into anything, Drogamula.
Yeah, interesting.
Explain. Never heard of it before?
It's a German heritage.
German, right.
Yeah, from my husband's side. And Drogamula, translated to English, actually means drug merchant. So I guess being wine producers, we're kind of in that,
I'm glad you cleared that up. Yeah, I'm glad you cleared that up. That's good. So let's talk about some history. Let's talk some history, Kath, before we talk about winery history. So tell me a little bit about Kath. Who was she before she got married and things like that?
Okay, no worries. So Kath grew up, I'm a hillbilly, born and bred.
Excellent.
I've always been in the Adelaide Hills. So I grew up at Lobethal, which is a great little German town again, on a dairy farm. And I was a dental nurse originally and then studied PR and met this strapping, tall young man, Paul Drogamula, and we got married.
Yeah.
And that was in 1982. And we were doing up a cottage just around the road here at Paracombe, which is in the Adelaide Hills and just above Tetra Gully. And Ash Wednesday bushfires hit in 1983, and this area was completely burnt out, as a lot of South Australia and Victoria was. And this property was an old dairy farm originally. Paul used to cut through this property on his way to school when he was young, and it came on the market and we bought it.
You bought it after the Ash Wednesday?
Ash Wednesday bushfires.
So it was pretty much
absolutely
destroyed?
Completely destroyed. There were 2 homes on the property, so we subdivided one off and then moved into the second home on the property. And we were talked into planting a vineyard. We had no background or experience in growing grapes or making wine.
Right. So what did Paul do?
So Paul drove trucks delivering paper. Then he started a grain and fodder business, and he used to play Aussie rules football. So again, no background at all in growing or making wine.
Who did he play footy for?
So he played for Torrens.
Torrens,
they
were arch enemy, Torrens.
And then Norwood for 5 minutes, but he did his knees, so that career ended.
Right.
And so we planted grapes. We got talked into planting grapes by Andrew Garrett.
Well, very well known
in
the wine industry.
And he was working with Tolly's Wines that used to be down the hill at Hope Valley. And so it was our next door neighbour.
And he just influenced you to plant the first vineyard?
Yeah, he did.
And what did we start with?
We started with Pinot Noir and Chardonnay and Sauvignon Blanc and Cabernet Franc.
Cabernet Franc.
Yes.
And around about when did we start doing this?
So that was 1983. So then we sold grapes for a few years. And then we did some research and found that there was a history of grape growing and winemaking in Paracombe. Went back to the mid-1800s. They used to make wine and shipped it to England.
Okay.
The first vintages of Penfolds Grange and St Henri came from Paracombe. And Tolly's used to make wine from Paracombe. So the area was like rich in history. And so we thought, well, got to the edge of the cliff, we might as well jump off and we'll land somewhere. So we started in making wine in a tin shed with a homemade basket press and second-hand milk tanks, and launched around the homestead garden when I was 8 months pregnant with our second child, Sarah.
That was a great idea.
And that was in 1992.
Right.
And then it's grown over the years. We outgrew the tin shed, and we started to build our winery in the underground cellars, expanded the vineyards. Our son Ben now works in the business as well.
What does Ben do?
He's distribution manager, and it helps with export and logistics. And
well, there's a great question. Where are we exporting to?
So we're exporting to Sweden and Canada and Singapore and Denmark and the UK and Thailand. We have...
You know why I was asking.
Yes.
I was
we
hoping that it wasn't 100% to China.
No, we have sold to China, but not for a little while.
Well, that's handy, isn't it?
And the thing is that our market, our best market is local, domestic.
Excellent. And
So that's our foundation.
South Australian.
Yeah.
So and national.
Yes.
Yeah, I think the wines will go really well in Queensland in the hot, humid.
Yeah, we've just actually got someone who's going to represent us in Queensland, which is a bit exciting.
Yeah. All right. Everyone says always rave on too much, even though I was blown away by the story.
Thank you.
We're going to crack into the first wine, and you tell me a trio of Pinot.
Yes. So
A trio of Pinot. It's like it was made for me.
I think it probably was, Nathan.
Yeah.
It was made for you.
A trio of Pinot.
So-
While I badly open this,
It's all right.
you tell us all about it. So it's a sparkling rosé.
It's a sparkling rosé, and it's a bit exciting because I think I'm claiming this anyway. I think it's a world first.
I don't let fat get in the
For-
way of a good story. Okay.
For a sparkling rosé made out of Pinot Gris, Pinot Noir and Pinot Blanc.
Pinot Blanc.
Yes, so we've planted Pinot Blanc, and do you know much about the Pinot family with the grape varieties?
I would love to say I know a lot about it, but I pretty
Okay.
much know zero.
All right, so-
except that I like it.
Okay, so Pinot Noir is the dark purple skin.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I knew that. Yeah.
And so you will see Pinot Gris is the pinky colour skin light table eating grapes.
Yeah.
And Pinot Blanc is what we refer to as white skin.
Okay.
And so
Pinot Blanc. Yeah,
Yes.
is that a very well-known variety? Is it?
you'll see it in Alsace and in France.
Yeah.
Commonly grown there.
In lower climate, lower temperature.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Cool-
high
cooler.
altitude, cool climates.
Right, that's what I was trying to get at.
Yeah, that's all right. And cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. So you can see it has that beautiful pinky blush.
Yeah, it's a very rosé in colour,
Yes,
isn't it?
yes, yeah, it is. It
And
is.
and usually I would think sparkling you would drink in a flute, even though the boys down the road at Glen Ewan gave me an old champagne.
Oh, yeah, they're
I spilled it
awesome.
all over myself when I was trying to swirl it, but
Yeah.
why are we drinking out of a...
So, interesting, when you think of the bubble that comes up, and what that's doing is it's lifting the aroma and the bouquet up.
Yeah?
So if it's in a flute, it's skinny, it looks lovely, but in terms of the aroma and the bouquet it's coming from a narrow zone. So it's okay to have it in a glass like this, which is larger, so good for getting your nose in there to smell that lovely bouquet that you get from the
So
sparkling.
I'm going to go the layman, and I'll go first, and I'll tell you what I'm smelling.
Okay.
And then
Yep.
feel free to correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
I'm thinking getting like a strawberry. Yeah, I didn't read anything here.
Yeah.
I didn't cheat for once.
Yeah,
Strawberry is what I'm getting, and I've got to have a taste.
yeah, do it.
It's not as sweet as I presumed it
No,
would be.
no, it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah,
So
looking at it and smelling it, I was thinking, to be honest, oh, this is going to be too sweet for
Yeah,
me.
no.
It's not dry either though.
It's
perfectly
made,
balanced.
Yeah.
Would be
Thank
a good-
you.
yeah?
Thank you.
No worries.
Yeah.
Not that I know what I'm talking about, but to me, it's perfectly balanced.
Lovely.
Yeah.
And nice fine bubble. So sometimes with sparklings you get like full explosion, whereas you've got the bead, the bubble coming up, but it's a gentle bubble. So again, balanced.
Yes.
And the colour that we see here comes from the Pinot Noir, the purpley colour.
Yeah.
So it's left on skins for a little bit of time, just a few hours, so that you get that bit of colour.
Yeah.
The Pinot Gris gives it that nice textural feel, and then the Pinot Blanc that freshness.
Yeah.
So they're all added to add their elements.
Now, without cheating, let me know around about, not to be exact, but around about what the percentages are of the 3 Pinots that are in there.
Yeah, so we got Pinot Noir is 50%.
Righto.
Pinot Gris is 45, and Pinot Blanc is 5.
5%.
Yeah,
okay.
so just a little bit.
And
yeah.
all right, why do they put it? Why do they put it in there?
Well, I was thinking about this wine along with our team of doing a sparkling rosé, and Pinot Blanc is such an aromatic, beautiful style. Thought, let's add that in.
Yeah.
Pinot Gris to drink, which we're going to try later, again has good fruit structure and would make well for a sparkling rosé. And Pinot Noir, if you were having a rosé in France, you would have Pinot Noir in it.
Right.
So thought about that, and then bringing those 3 Pinot family members together that would complement each other. Being Adelaide Hills' cool climate, they're picked when they're less ripe, and so you get that freshness which you would want to have in a sparkling wine.
You've done exceptionally well, and I'm very interested to see what we would pair this with food-wise.
Okay, so this wine, you think about if you're having a celebration or a wedding or a picnic. So antipasta style food would be perfect with it, and dips and olives and capicola meat. So
Yeah, no, that's your cue, mate.
yeah.
Come in. Come in.
Big of a shot.
Hey, look at this.
What a
So
handsome
here
waiter.
we go. So what
Wow.
we've got today is food that would really go well with this. Stuffed mushrooms. Yeah, capicola meats, some nice fresh little salad, and a frittata.
So these are available when the people come for a tasting, or
Normally,
is this just a SA wine?
this is
with a special?
especially for you. But also when we have events.
Yeah.
So Paul, my husband and partner in crime, who's incredible in the kitchen, so he's responsible for putting this food together.
So
And
not only does he make the wine,
he's pretty amazing. I think he's a keeper.
Yeah, well, by the taste of the sparkling rosé, I'm tending to agree. So I'm going to have to go to stuffed mushroom first, then.
Yeah, do it.
And we know, what is it stuffed with?
So it's stuffed with a vegetarian mix of mushroom and some herbs,
Okay.
special herbs that he's done with a little bit of rocket there. So you've tasted it before, now it's interesting to taste it again with food and see what it does to the wine.
It definitely brought out the fruitiness,
Yeah.
brought the fruit flavour out in the wine. I don't know if that was because the mushroom was so savoury, but it really brought
I
that.
agree.
Yeah?
Yes, yeah, I agree.
Excellent. I got something right for once. Usually I don't, but. All right. So with the mushroom, it goes perfectly.
Yes.
What have we got here?
So that's some capicola.
Capicola.
Yes.
Right. I'll
So
help
have
myself.
some of that.
Yeah. You having some?
Yes, please. Thank you.
We got some. These from the garden, or are they just local produce?
No, just local produce.
Okay.
It was interesting, I became my father with COVID. He was an incredible gardener. Mm-hmm. And you remember when we first went into lockdown back in March, April?
I do.
People planted. So I went down to Bunnings and I bought a couple of those raised garden beds and then went to Newman's Nursery, which are a great nursery just down the hill, and bought some seedlings.
Yeah.
And then it was interesting because then I really found that I quite enjoyed growing the veggies, and we use some of those veggies in our cooking here. And it was just...
It's nothing better than growing your own veggies or fruit.
No. Do you do it?
I do. My girls I've actually just done something very similar.
Right.
A friend of mine's got some containers, and we've lined them, and then we've put a bit of gravel in the bottom, and then a bit of sand, and then some really rich soil, some pea straw on top.
Okay.
A couple of them, and the girls have got one each, and they're having a competition. Of
That's good.
who can grow In other words, Dad's doing it all, but yeah, at the end of it, they'll claim that they did it.
Yes.
Now, making them water, they have to go and water it every day and check
good.
it. And
That's awesome.
yeah, it's a good learning, a little project for them to do. It was a same COVID project, and I think it's great for the kids to learn that as well.
Absolutely.
And great for us because we get to eat the produce. So
And the flavour's different,
we've got
isn't it?
capsicum, we've got tomatoes, we've got some rock melon, watermelon, passion fruit, and then we've got 3 types of citrus as well.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. So
And the flavours from what you grow yourself to what you buy, it's just like there's no comparison.
no,
is
it never
there?
tastes better, does it, than growing
No,
it yourself?
no.
And you know why I like growing it? I like giving it to people.
Me
I like-
too.
Yeah, I like
Cheers
saying,
to that.
I like
That's
saying,
good.
oh, here's a couple of
Yep.
cucumbers, here's some tomatoes, and then it's always good. I think that's the old Italian way too. Grow it and give it to people and swap some produce. And
Yeah, absolutely.
well, what a start!
And it's interesting, talking about flavours that come from what you grow yourself. Paracombe, where we are in Adelaide Hills, is cool climate. So what that means is the grapes take longer to ripen.
Yep.
So you get intensity of aroma and bouquet and length of flavour and elegance and spice, which is different from, say, Barossa or McLaren Vale,
Yeah.
Riverland. And the other amazing thing about us here, we're on a plateau and it's 425 metres above sea level, but the plateau, the soils, are 1.7 billion years old. It's ridiculous. It's so incredible and very lean.
1.7 billion.
I
years
know, I know. You have to say it again to understand it, don't you? And it
old. Why not
matters
1.8?
because we'll give it some time and it
All
will.
right, fair enough. good comeback. Yeah.
So-
That's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I love the fact that you hinted before that wine was made in Paracombe way back when and then exported to
England, and so our soils are very lean, so ironstone over buckshot gravel over clay, and then if you can imagine the vine roots are going down into the soils and they're bringing up those minerals and characters, and it influences our wines. So as you're tasting and smelling and we're trying it with food, you'll get to sort of perhaps see that a little bit of distinctive flavours that come through because of where we are here.
Well, you've started off exceptionally well. I think my glass had a hole in it like usual, but for wine 1, you've absolutely killed it, and I'm really looking forward to wine 2. So
cool.
we'll crack into that. I'll just finish this one off first. But okay, so we're going to crack into wine 2. I've changed tops because I've got rid of my blatant plug.
I know that. Now, I'd like to know, SA Wine Weekly, I want to hear just quickly about your story of where that came from.
Whose show is this? Yours or yours?
Well, it's a team effort. It's a
Just
team
quickly,
effort.
okay. SA Wine Weekly was a COVID baby.
Really?
It's similar to the veggies.
Okay.
When COVID first hit, Achieve Video Marketing had been going for about 12 months, and we were really just starting to hit our straps, and we've got a few clients on board, and we're just starting to go really well, heavily invested in an office and a studio, and then COVID hit, and everything, we pretty much saw our business evaporate in a few hours.
Yes.
But we'd had this idea about it, and we'd done a pilot ages ago with Zonte's Footstep, blatant plug for Zonte's, because Brad and Anna were the people who came to us and said, right, we're doing it. Next Wednesday night, we're coming in the studio, we're doing the live wine show, work it out, and we were like, we weren't ready. And they said, better, let's go.
Yeah.
So we thought, okay, we'll give it a crack. They came in and they were awesome. I didn't really do much. They pretty much ran the whole show. They brought in different foods that, and I wasn't really thinking about food. They brought in chicken and chips, and they brought in a pizza, and then they brought in a chocolate fondue.
Yeah.
And it wasn't what was on the tasting notes, it was what the winemaker and the owner like to eat with their wines. So it kind of evolved from there, and they lined up a few other people to come on, and now it's evolved that much that we're on TV.
Great.
I still can't believe that. We're on Channel 44,
great.
and we have to shout out and say thanks to Channel 44. They really help and really push local businesses.
That's awesome.
And if you want to get out there and you've got some content, send it through to them because they're more than happy to put it on.
Okay.
And Yeah, so we're up to show 28.
That's awesome. And
we've
here you are with us.
And here we are, and we feel quite privileged
Thank you.
to be here.
It's good to have you. Thank you.
So we're going to jump into wine 2 after, that sounds like a bit of another plug, but we'll jump into wine 2, which is the Pinot Gris, and it's 2020.
Because one of the things I thought that 2020 has been such a tricky year, I wanted you to appreciate that there are some good things coming out of 2020.
Oh, you want to show us something good out of 2020?
And for us, 2020 has been what was our, I think I could honestly say it's the lowest yielding year that we have ever had in all of our years of growing grapes and making wine. And that goes back to 2019 when fruit is going through flower and setting in spring. So we had low yields in 2019, but even lower in 2020. And the reason for that is that was windy, cold, wet, bit of frost. And so that then means that when fruit is setting, it's not setting as well as it could be. So low yields. So that's a negative, but a positive is that the wines are incredible because so little fruit.
Yeah, it means
so the bouquet and the aroma and the flavour are just so incredibly intense.
So the look of this is, I'd almost say nude. It's almost crystal clear.
Yeah, there's a little bit of colour, but
there's
not
a
much.
little hint of straw, I would say.
Yes,
that might be a good way to describe. There's anything I really know that's yellow, but a real light yellow like that. So, the smell of it is fruit.
Yeah, so we are very much at Paracombe about expression of fruits and variety and wanting the grapes to really shine and not mess with them too much. So we use the term ecological, being sustainable, and that's really what we're real with that.
Yep.
So all of our vines are hand pruned, and at the moment.
So hang on a second.
Okay.
How many vines do we have?
Oh, there's a lot.
Yeah, how
There's
many
thousands and thousands. So we have got about 20 hectares of vine that we're growing, and then we also have some local growers as well.
Yep. So you only source fruit from local people?
Yeah. So some of our wines are exclusively from our home vineyard here.
Yeah.
Some we have some which are specialist local growers exclusively, and then some are a combination of both.
Right. So picking the best fruit from.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now the taste of this, it's extremely fruity.
Yeah.
And it actually threw me, the taste of it. It was, I was expecting it to be, have that, not bitter, but a bit of an acid aftertaste, but there was nothing.
No.
And actually...
It's the balance, it's the harmony.
It was the balance, but it was also very neutral in the mouth. Oh, excuse me. Very neutral in the mouth, and the aftertaste was quite soft.
Yes.
Which...
So
very, very surprising.
Thank you. And it's interesting that you say soft and gentle. So this is, the fruit for this is grown here on our home block, and also we have another block just down the road where we source the fruit from. And it's like pear. Did you find a bit of nashy pear? Fruit
you mentioned it, of course, but the smell, I didn't pick up pear in the smell. I was thinking more passion fruit, melon sort of smell, very strong, but then very subtle taste.
Yep, okay.
It was not what I was expecting at all. That's what I love about this show. You get to taste amazing.
Yeah, that's great.
No one brings a bad wine on.
No.
Why would you?
No.
But you just get to taste some amazing wines, and we're only doing South Australia. Not only.
Because South Australia's the best, that's
of
why.
course. We like to throw that at least once a show.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is totally different.
And so no oak treatments.
No oak.
So the fruit is picked and harvested, goes straight into the winery, gets pressed straight away. The juice then goes into stainless steel tanks and settled, and then yeast is added. So with wine, for people who are perhaps not familiar with how wine's made, You've got the sugar, which is in the juice.
Yep.
Yeast is added and it starts a fermentation process, and that's converting the sugar in the juice to alcohol to make wine.
Yeah.
And when you look at wines that are sweet and wines that are dry, it's about when the fermentation is stopped. So you said you were surprised about the Trio of Pinot, how it was not sweet,
Yeah.
drier style. And again, this is dry, fermented to dryness.
Yeah.
So the fruit character is where you're getting that fruit flavour from.
Yeah.
And if a wine is super sweet, it's because the fermentation has been stopped and you've still got the sweetness left in the wine.
Right. So more a Moscato or...
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So food-wise, we're going to pair something similar? Yeah?
Antipasta. So again, you've got Capicola.
I'm going
So
to go straight into the Capicola.
Try that, because this wine will cut through the oiliness
Yeah.
of the meat to really match well with this. And also there's a vegetable, let me just get you a bit of that to try that too, because I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. So our wines are very much food-friendly wines, and we're happy for them to be that way, because you can be... The good thing about wine is to enjoy it with food and with family and friends and people that you care about, and it's a connector. Wine is a connector, brings us together to
For sure.
enjoy that.
Definitely. It tasted... The mouthfeel was a lot oilier with the meat.
Okay, yes. Yeah, and
Yeah.
then try it with...
All right.
with
If I have to.
yeah, do it and just see what you
Okay.
think. So there's a bit of creaminess in there.
Yeah, totally different.
And again, like you said earlier about you taste the wine on its own, but when you taste it with food, it's like boom.
Yeah, I think
The
that sometimes
intensity.
too, you have a wine, you might be at a restaurant or something, you have a wine, and you're eating a great meal and you think the wine is absolutely superb, then you go to the bottle shop, you grab another bottle, or you order some from the winery, and then you're not eating the same food, and you go, oh, that tastes totally
Yeah,
different.
different. Yeah,
So
it's different.
this matches beautifully with the food.
Thank you.
Yeah, funny about that, because
Yeah.
obviously you've matched it perfectly,
Yeah. And so it's interesting, people will sometimes ask about Pinot Gris and Pinot Grigio.
but
And they're
yes,
the same grape variety. Pinot Grigio is made Italian style and is often picked when it's less ripe, so more austere, and if you were drawing, it's more linear with its characters. Whereas Pinot Gris, it's a little riper and so a little bit more full-bodied,
yeah,
and so you get some more structure in the wine.
this is a really good seller for you.
It's our best
Yeah.
seller, and it's our most loved of all of our wines.
Yeah,
So it's extremely popular.
and what does it retail at for a bottle?
This would retail for around about the $20 mark, 21.
Absolute bargain.
Oh no, it's
isn't
very
it?
good value.
An absolute bargain. And do you know what? People on the pretty good show, all they have to do is put a comment on Facebook or YouTube, and we run it because it goes live on a Wednesday night at 8 o'clock. I thought I'd throw that out there.
Yeah.
Till the next Monday, all they've got to do is watch the show, comment. Maybe you might jump on and answer the comments.
Okay.
Or I might, but I'll probably answer it wrong. But they can ask questions or say, yeah, I love that wine. I love eating it with carbonara
Yes,
or
yes.
drinking it with carbonara. They've got a chance to win a bottle. So they can
Yes.
win it. They might not be able to win a bottle of the Trio of Pinot because that might end up in my fridge. But actually, the Pinot Gris might end up there too. But no, they've got a chance to win it, obviously.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
all they have to do is throw a comment out.
Great.
And then
That's good.
I don't get to choose them because everyone thinks I'll be too biased. So Adriana or one of the other girls from behind the scenes choose it.
Yes,
And then,
yep.
so some people want some amazing wines. And people give us pictures back. We take pictures as well when they pick up their bottles. They've got to come and
Yes.
see us to get them.
Okay.
And then we take a picture and we put it on socials as well. So that people know that I'm not just keeping them all.
Okay.
I've been accused of it a couple of times, but so all
Oh,
they have to do
that's
a simple
exciting.
question to win a bottle of
Yes.
wine.
Good, good. And Christmas time is coming, so if they're looking for a wine to have with people they care about that maybe they have been distanced from in these
I've
strange
got this
times.
feeling that you've set today out for almost the Christmas morning.
Yeah.
The Christmas.
Well, sorted, isn't it?
Yeah, the Christmas seafood or
Yes,
platter,
yeah.
and
Yeah, the
then moving
turkey
along
or
to the red with
whatever,
some nice ham or
Yeah.
steak.
yes.
Wow.
Yeah, we look forward to that, don't we?
We do look forward to
Yeah,
it. I'm
very
so looking
much.
forward to Christmas.
Yeah, I think a lot of us are. I had my daughter fly in from Sydney with her beautiful boyfriend and spend the weekend with us just recently.
Yeah.
Because, you know, so many people are separated at the moment, and just to come back again and see each other, I think you talk about what's good that's come out of COVID is the connection and family and the simple things in life.
Yeah.
You kind of realise they really matter.
Because people say, oh, lockdown things. I actually enjoyed it.
Did you?
I enjoyed the first one more because we were able to go surfing and fishing and things like that. I
Yes.
live right by the beach, so
Okay,
my kids
yeah.
thought it was awesome. It wasn't. And I read something from one of the high-up educators in Britain who
Yes.
said, don't worry about teaching your kids at home or anything like that. Take them in the garden, take
That's
them
a
to the
great
beach,
idea.
take them,
Yeah,
make
yeah.
this time memorable for them,
Yes.
not a drama.
Yeah.
So we went fishing every day and they loved it. Like when we said
Yes.
we're going into a new lockdown, they were all excited. Let's put the tent up, let's go. No, we actually didn't want to go anywhere this time. And it was like the end of the world,
Yeah, different.
even though it was only 3
Yeah.
days. But yeah, so excellent second wine, great food pairing, and
Thank you, Nathan.
I knew this was going to be a bestseller straight away. All right, so wine 3.
Okay, now we're
I'm
moving
not sure
on
how you're going to top
to
wine
red
1 and 2, but so we're going to jump into an Adelaide Hills Red,
Yes, we are.
And-
That's right.
the Reuben.
Yes.
So while I'm opening it, tell me why the Reuben?
Okay. So back still today, I look after the sales to the wholesale market in Adelaide, to the restaurants and bottle shops and hotels. And I had a few people say, Kath, how about doing a red blend? So chatted with Paul and we decided to do a red blend. And the fruit for this wine is from our vineyard and local family growers. So the Reuben is quite incredible. It's about community, collaboration, the mastercraft of blending and bringing in those grape varieties into this wine. So it's predominantly Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, Malbec, Cabernet Franc and Shiraz. So 5 grape varieties. And
5 grape.
5.
Wow.
So people would think perhaps
Now, here's
a
a test.
Bordeaux blend.
Here's the test.
Okay.
What's the mix of the 5? What's the percentage of each?
I have to look that up now.
Do you?
I do.
Quickly.
I do. Because, so Cabernet Sauvignon 43.
Hang on.
It's
So
predominantly Cabernet Sauvignon.
let's split it up. Put you on the spot and tell me what the percentage of each is of the 5 is in the Reuben.
So 43% Cabernet Sauvignon.
43.
Yep, and
Wow.
there's 6 clones of Cabernet. So it's Cabernet from our vineyard and a couple of family growers. Merlot is the next, and
Yeah.
that's 35%. So the Cabernet gives it structure and shoulders. The Merlot softens it out. Then we have 11% Cabernet Franc, which comes from here and is one of the original varieties that we planted
Okay.
back in 1983, which we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
And then Malbec, 9%.
Malbec. We're very familiar with Malbec. Very big in Langhorne Creek.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Yep. And then Shiraz is only 2%. A tiny bit, but what it does is it really marries it out and brings those characters and flavours together.
Was it difficult for Paul to find the right blend of these 5?
So what happens is we pick them, we make wine from them, and then they're made in separate batches.
Yeah.
So when it comes to blending, we'll taste it on the bench, trialling it, and so it will always be those 5 grape varieties,
Yeah.
but the percentage will vary each year according to the season and what it gives us.
Of course. And we're on the 2015, aren't we?
We are.
The 2015.
Yes.
Now, For an Adelaide Hills red, it seemed to me, and I'm no real expert, but it seems quite dark.
Yeah, there's certainly some good depth of colour there.
Yeah, some real depth of colour. Let's have a smell. Wow. Doing a lot on the nose, isn't it? A lot. I can't wait to get it in the mouth, to be honest. But
yeah.
wow, it's like a party in the mouth, isn't it?
And the thing that I love about the Reuben is that what I invite you to do is to take your time and smell it, because you've got those 5 great varieties, and just see what it yields up, because you're going to get all those varieties are going to give you something different.
There's so much happening there, though.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, it's hard to... I think every time you smell it, you kind of get something different as well. How long would you decanter a wine like this for?
So you could decanter it for a couple of hours if you wanted.
Or a couple of beers, as we say on this show.
You could do that.
Decanter for a couple of beers, maybe while you're cooking the barbecue.
You could, absolutely. And the good thing is you're looking at a wine that's 2015 vintage. So again, the benefit of Adelaide Hills cool climate with natural acidity, which comes into play, ageability. This wine will still age for 10 to 15 years
that was my next
without
question.
any problem at all.
I was going to ask what sort of cellar life would it have? But, So you're saying another 10 to 15 years?
Yes.
And it would change a lot in...
It'll mellow and soften out.
Yeah.
It'll mellow and soften out in time. But that's where, used to be years ago we used cork, and then now we've gone to screw closure. So that helps with ageability as well.
Yeah. So everything's extended because of it.
Yes. So cool climate, natural acidity. And Reuben, this wine is named after Reuben Chapman, who was a pioneer in Paracombe. He lived here in the late 1800s, early 1900s.
I love the history.
A great community man.
Yeah.
Had the full beard, so if you looked there, you see he's the original hipster. A bit like you, except I think his beard's probably a bit more robust and longer.
It is not. I think you're talking him up.
Anyway, bless his cotton socks, he was a die-hard Methodist who never let any alcohol pass his lips. But his grandchildren think it's pretty cool. There's a wine named after him, and he was an incredible community man.
Yep.
So he donated the land where the Oval and the Hall and the church and the cricket grounds are, and gave a lot to the district. So when you think about the Reuben being a collaboration and a community of our fruit and local growers and bringing in the master craft of blending, it seemed like quite appropriate to name the wine after him.
Yeah, that's quite fitting, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So everyone's working together, and you've sourced all the fruit from around the community and named after the guy who was very community-minded.
Yeah. And we've got some incredible food which will really complement this wine.
I'm looking forward to this.
So here we go.
Wow.
So we've got...
All right, what are we going to go? What are we going to try first?
An array. I would suggest to try the meatballs.
In here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Try one of these.
And these are all made by your husband?
Yeah, they are. Yes, they are.
Is he shy of the camera?
Yeah, he's been out today. We had a friend from Sydney who he had got back to the airport. But pork and veal with a beautiful tomato sauce. So lots of flavours going on, and you talked about the wine. So when you eat this and then try it with the wine, you'll be in for a treat.
Wow. All of a sudden I experienced a lot more tannin in the wine than I did before having the food.
Yep.
Maybe it's been sitting a little bit too much. Wow, he's an exceptional cook, isn't he? He's a great winemaker, but he's a man of many talents.
He certainly
I won't ask
is.
what other talents he's got, but he's done exceptionally well with the food.
Yeah. So your heritage, is that Italian?
Depends who I'm talking to.
Okay.
Sometimes I'm Italian, sometimes
Yeah.
I'm Greek, sometimes I'm from Papua New Guinea. It just depends. No, my actual English, Irish, my grandpa was over in New Guinea for...
So not Italian at all?
No.
No.
My wife's
No.
father's Italian.
Okay.
He's from Molfetta. Yeah, I think he thought I was Italian when I first got together with her.
When you were talking a bit, I thought you were. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
sometimes I'd like to portray I am, depending
Yeah.
on who we're talking to.
Yeah.
At Agostino's, I was very Italian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the wonderful thing about South Australia, isn't it? Our
Yeah.
heritage. We have so many different cultures coming in, people bringing their food and their
We're so
culture.
lucky,
in.
aren't we?
We are.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very.
So I'm gonna just put this to the side, as much as I don't want to, but I'm gonna put that to the side. And what have we got here?
So that is charcoal ciabatta with a basil pesto, bocconini, cheese and a little cherry tomato.
That looks quite fancy, doesn't it?
Yeah, nice and fancy.
Is it
Yeah.
kind of outdone himself there?
Yeah.
Probably could have done with a knife to cut it, but I've made it. I really love pesto too.
Yes. Yeah.
Once again, a totally different, and obviously eating something different, it gives you a different taste, but
And isn't that the magic of wine?
yeah.
Have you found that as you've done this series and you've tried different wines with different foods, it's just opened up your mind to a whole new world
Yeah,
of
and,
deliciousness?
yeah, true, and a whole new world to varieties of wine too. Like, I don't think I've ever had a 5 blend before, but even we were in the Riverland,
Yes.
and me being a novice, I thought the Riverland was cask bulk wine, and wondering why we were actually going there. But did they have some amazing some amazing winemakers? And Murray's food was
Yes.
to die for,
Yeah.
and varieties of wine I'd never experienced before. And it was amazing. And Adelaide Hills, the same.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's all totally, even McLaren Vale, you've got 4 different areas of McLaren Vale that Shiraz taste different.
Yeah.
So-
It really matters. Place absolutely matters when it comes to growing grapes and making
Yeah.
wine. And one of the things that I am so proud about Paracombe and our little place here where we live and grow is our strength and our diversity. So today you've tried a sparkling, you've tried a white and a red. And so if you were in Europe or France, for instance, you're dictated to grow specific varieties and make specific wine. So in South Australia, we're fortunate that we can, we don't have rules and regulations that we have to stay by.
Yep.
And with us, with our climate and our altitude and the ability that we have, we can produce an incredible array of different wines.
Do you know what I think South Australia, maybe Australia, but South Australia, because that's all I've got to really go on, is we're starting to grow great varieties that fit the climate perfectly. And we're starting to make some amazing wines from those varieties.
Yeah.
McLaren Vale is, it's not all Shiraz. The Grenache is absolutely evolving. The Nero's evolving as well. The Riverland, they're talking up their Grenache.
Yes.
They're
yeah.
saying, hang on a minute, stop talking about Blow at Spring. So they've actually thrown out a challenge and said, we're going to bring this vintage's Grenache to your show. We want you to bring on the Barossa,
Yes.
McLaren Vale.
Yeah, and taste it off and see the
taste it off.
differences. Yeah, which is great.
And I said, I'll get an expert. They said, no, we want you to do it.
Yeah.
Somebody doesn't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Someone.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we were looking forward to that. But
Yeah.
the Hills to me is Pinot straight away. And anyone else, because I always say I'm a Pinot lover and people comment and I get messages from Tasmania and Victoria as well, but you can't. This is...
So I hope that today has opened up your mind a little bit, like you say, you think
Yeah.
of Pinot for Adelaide Hills. So I hope that with you trying the wines and trying the red, you think, well, maybe there's more to the Hills than...
Do you know what? Well, I like
Pinot.
Pinot because I
Yeah.
like a lighter style wine.
Yeah.
So the Hills and even the Riverland fit my palate perfectly. Even though I live in McLaren Vale and lighter
Sure.
wines are becoming more popular, the Italian varieties and things to grow nicely there. The really strong Shirazes and they're not my palate.
Yes.
And the old
And that
Italians.
seems to be happening.
Yeah.
So people are, I think, looking for wines that are not so full and rich and full on.
Yeah.
So-
What would the alcohol content of this be?
So this is 14.5.
Yeah, so it is a little
Yeah.
bit lower. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so drinkable though, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it is. And beautiful with this.
I've got
sort of
to.
thing.
Beetroot's my favourite. So
Yeah,
I'm
and
going
so
to have
and
to.
it's interesting because again, beetroot I think will really complement. the
Yeah.
wine.
Compliments most things, I think.
Yeah.
So how can people come and taste the wines?
So here at Paracombe, we do cellar door by appointments, which offers people a personal experience because it will be either me or Paul or Ben, so one of the family members that will take care of them. And they'll come to our bar area and taste our wines and have an experience. And they'll taste wines that they can actually look out in the vineyard and see where they're growing. So they can phone us on 83805 058 or email us, hop on our website, which will give the details.
Yeah, we'll check a slide up. People know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
So,
social media?
yeah. What else though?
Yeah.
What about pre-COVID or post-COVID, which is more important? Weddings, functions, because it's such a beautiful place.
Yeah.
There's a lot of space here, isn't there?
So we do some weddings and we cater in house. So this sort of food that you've had is made in house with fresh local ingredients.
Yeah.
So we do that. Corporate functions.
Yeah,
So we're
great place for a
we're
corporate
so
function.
close, like 30 minutes out of the city, and so that's really convenient for people to come and have their meetings. And there's lots of space here to break off and do those discussions that they want to do in this space.
Yeah, okay, that's excellent. And when are we usually open?
So
Obviously, we're ringing up and we're booking an appointment, but
yes, so there's people around during the week.
yeah,
And then on weekends, it's definitely make an appointment then.
excellent.
Yeah.
And all the wines, what sort of wine flights or tastings do we have?
So we're a bit flexible. We're not necessarily people come and they will specifically have a 5 wines or whatever. We're a bit open, and so it will be what we might show. Someone might be interested in a particular style, so we'll open them for
All
them.
right, so I'm going to throw something out there. I would like to taste your best Pinot.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yep.
I'm going to throw it in the bottom. So a 2020.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yep.
Here, you can actually call me.
All right. So Pinot Noir 2020. So Pinot is one of the original varieties that we planted in 1983. So this fruit comes from those vines.
Yeah? So tell me about the Pinot.
So Pinot Noir is probably one of the most romantic varieties. It's obviously got your heart.
Oh, that's why I love it, yeah, because
Yeah.
I'm very romantic.
Yeah. So it's a darker colour.
Yeah,
You can see that.
it's,
But it's a darker colour, but it's lighter and bright.
yeah,
So it goes to French oak. So we use French oak with our reds.
you can smell it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we find some producers use American oak, we use French. French is finer grain and subtle, so it's not so overt and dominating in the wines.
I actually learned about French oak and how you buy it and how they sell off parcels of the actual forest.
Yes.
So I sound like I
Yeah.
know what I'm talking about, don't I? Dating right back to the Napoleon days.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeff
Yeah.
from Pyramid Wines at McLaren Bar taught me all about it.
Mm-hmm. And so medium bodied, and to me, a Pinot Noir, you get the cherry fruit,
Oh.
the tannin, but you should get, I describe it as that oomph character on the palate after. A good Pinot should have that oomph, it's that tannin, that structure that's just there.
Once again, though, what I like about Pinot, extremely easy to drink. No, there's no struggle to drink
Yeah.
it. It's just very flavoursome and
Yes.
very easy to drink.
Yeah, yeah. And may I talk about our label? Because some
Sure.
people
Yeah,
ask.
we haven't mentioned it at all.
No, some people ask
Except
about
for
what it is.
Except for Reuben.
Yes. So it's a single grape
Okay.
on a. So it's a photograph of a single grape.
Turn around so people can see it.
Yeah. So a single grape, because we put a lot of effort in the vineyard with looking after each and every grape,
Yeah.
with hand pruning, keeping our yields low. We go through and we slash under vines so that it creates a mulch for worm activity. Reuse the water. So we do a lot of things to have a soft footprint on the environment.
Yeah.
Talked about us being on a plateau.
Yeah.
So if you looked at a contour map, the grape is on a piece of stone, and that's the shape of our plateau here at Paracombe.
Right. You would never. I wouldn't have guessed that.
No, and I
No.
just thought I should probably
You
pop
should.
that in because some people.
And who came up with that?
So that was our original designer of our label, Gavin Close,
Right.
along years ago when we first launched. So originally it was an illustration, and then
It really fits, doesn't it?
yes, it does. Yeah.
And there's a great story behind it.
Yeah.
I'm betting you
Yeah.
tell a majority of people when they're here having a tasting all about it as well.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So the Pinot is magic.
Thank you.
Absolutely magic.
Thank you very
And,
much.
all the wines have been sensational, and the food, and an excellent place to come to. Corporate, really. I used to be in the corporate world, believe it
Okay.
or not. But it really ticks a box for corporate functions. The space, the area, breakaway groups.
Yes.
Come back, have a great feed, and spend the day here would be an excellent idea. So I just want to say thanks heaps for coming
it's
on.
my pleasure. Thank you, Nathan.
And you've done an exceptional job. I
Thank
feel
you.
like I learn every week, but I've learned a lot today.
Good, that's
and
great.
I've thoroughly enjoyed myself.
Good.
So thanks heaps for coming on, and you really laid it on for us, and we really appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Pleasure. All the best. Okay. Cheers.